like knowing you have a stunt double, a body double with Trevor Lawrence if need be?
I think our quarterback power run game just got better. I can't wait to see that guy run the ball. That was fun. John he's a hoot, man. So I know, a lot of people were apparently not happy that Trevor's not here. So it was kind of fun. He was here in spirit. John Lawrence made a good impression.
What did you think about just all the hoopla and fuss being made over Lawrence not being here?
Oh, I didn't think about it at all. I don't pay any attention to that stuff. I heard about it, but I mean, those of you who follow our program, this is my 11th media day, and that's our protocol. We're not changing our protocol just because you had a freshman who was a good player, and we've got a lot of freshmen that were good players, and but just what we do, Maybe by year 15 or 20, we won't talk about it anymore. It'll be everybody say, no, it's just what Clemson does.
How does this all season compare to past? And certainly when you're coming off a championship versus not coming off a championship, is there any difference for you?
No, there really isn't, because we don't carry anything over. If we have a bad season, lose the last game, or we win the national championship, we don't carry anything over. We start over, and I mean, really, truly, in every sense of the word, we start over and reset, refocus, and reinstall the program and the core values, and you got to pay the price all over again. It's one of the things we always say: greatness never goes on sale. You got to pay full price every year, and you got to prove it. It's business as usual for us. I mean, right back at it in January. We celebrated. We enjoyed an unbelievable year, a historic year. I mean, that team was special. I would say take that roster and just kind of put it in the shelf for about 15 years and get it out 15 years from now and just go, wow, just start going down the list and go, this guy is doing this guy did this guy did, and I'm not talking about in the game, I'm talking about football, out of football, I mean in life, and you will easily be able to look back and say, well, that's why they won. That's why they were able to do what they did. We had such unbelievable people, and it was an amazing experience. So we celebrated that, but man, we were all eager to turn the page in January and to get started on what's next. And we have a lot of guys on our roster that we have 30-something guys that weren't even on our team last year, counting some of the new walk-ons. And so a lot of guys are first-time starters, new roles, bigger roles. A lot of guys that are eager to get out there and say, hey, all right, I know fans, get your eyes over here. I know y'all are still looking at who's gone, but I'm here to play, and so that's fun. There's a lot of enthusiasm that comes with that, and we got enough veterans back. We're a young team. I think 80 of our 120 are freshmen and sophomores. 40 of them are juniors and seniors. So we got a young team, but we got really good stuff in that veteran group. Good leaders, commitment, guys that understand what it takes, and have done a great job leading this group. It's been a great offseason, a great summer, and excited to get back on the field here soon.
You talk about
two teams from everyone great ACC titles. It's Florida State in the early 90s, and then you guys right now. You put a historical context of this run of your success in conference. When you think back on what it took to achieve this, what are the memories that stand out?
Oh, it's amazing, man. I mean, I have so many great memories from, my group as an interim for those 6 ball games. Unbelievable memories. Those group of guys that had no chance to win a national championship. I went over to Italy this summer, and you go into St. Peter's, and I don't know, that thing took like 200 years or something to build or more. And there's a lot of people that worked on that knew they would never have a chance to see it finished. And I go back to that 08 group, those seniors that had 6 weeks, and they knew they weren't going to win a national championship. They knew they weren't going to win the ACC championship. They knew that, they wouldn't see some of the things that we have today, but man, they went to work anyway, and they believed anyway, and they committed anyway. And that 09 group who won the first division, and that 10 group who had probably the most adversity of any of our teams, but continued to compete and believe and stay together, and that 11 team who won the first ACC championship. and that 12 team coming off that horrible loss in the Orange Bowl and to come back to beat LSU, and that 13 team to go back to the Orange Bowl and win and beat an Ohio State team, undefeated, a great Ohio State team, and that 14 team that found a way to beat Oklahoma with Deshaun hurt, the 15 team to get to the national championship. I mean, it's all great, and I love every bit of the journey. I don't take it for granted. I appreciate all of our teams. They're all special, and every team has its own story, its own challenges, and I'm excited about this new journey this year in 2019. I can't believe it's gone that fast. I was 38 when I was named the interim, and 39 when I got the job in December, and going to be 50 this year. And it's like I don't feel 50. I don't know what you're supposed to feel like. I still feel like I'm 25. But it's amazing how fast it's gone. But I am thankful that I have a great memory of all that it took to get here.
Coach, Darion Kendrick is one of those younger guys looking for an increased role. How have you seen DK grow, and what are your expectations of him in 2019?
Oh, he's still a work in progress. I mean, he's a fun guy to coach because he loves football. He's incredibly competitive. He's very talented. And obviously we played him at receiver last year, put him in some quarterback stuff, and he was a returner. And he's just a winner. You know, that guy won 4 straight state championships in high school, and then he wins the national championship his first year in college. He's had a pretty good run. Unbelievable. So competitiveness comes natural to him. He expects to win. It's been interesting, it just happened that we threw him over at corner one day, and I mean, it was like fish to water. I mean, he did a phenomenal job, and so ended up finishing the spring, coming out of spring listed as a starter. So he's still got a lot of work to do. He's still rough around the edges, still got maturing to do as a young person, but I'm proud of him, and it's going to be a big year for him coming up.
Seems like the hype grows year in, year out. Certainly with this run, and when you're coming off a season where you go 15-0 and you're undefeated, your championship ring say best ever, how do you tell your team to ignore the hype? How do you go about doing it when it seems to be everywhere?
Well, we've been doing it for a long time, so it's just like I said, it's just kind of business as usual for us. I mean, it's not like we've had one good season. I mean, we've had 8, 10+ win seasons in a row, and hopefully a 9th coming up. So to answer your question, is kind of what I said earlier. I mean, we just start over, and we pay the price all over again, and we don't take anything for granted. I mean, it's truly a reset and a recommitment and a refocus, and we go back to work. If you love the Rocky movies, man, we live modern but we train old. That's a mindset, so that you don't lose the perspective, and you just fall in love with the grind. I mean, it's a grind, and you got to love it. And every year, I mean, our strength coach always says they don't put championship rings on smooth hands. You got to put the work in, and the quality of the construction is based on the commitment of the crew. So you gotta have guys and coaches and staff that are committed, and so that's my job every year to make sure that we have that in place.
Coach, you talk about guys wanting bigger roles. It looked like you had a good offseason. Talk about what do you expect from KJ Henry this year?
Yeah, perfect example. I mean, he's so happy that Cleveland and Austin are gone because now he's got an opportunity to get out there and say, hey, I came here to play too. I'm pretty good, and I'm really proud of KJ. He played 4 games last year, did a nice job, but he really wanted to redshirt. He wanted to get in the weight room in our Power Hour program because he wanted to really prepare himself for the spring. And fortunately, we were able to do that, and it shows. I mean, his body has really developed. He's still a young player and a maturing guy, but he's got a lot to work with, and I think he's going to be a great player for us. And he's a great young man, great family. He's the son of a coach, so he gets it. He's very self-aware, and loves to be coached, and he's critical of himself, which is something that's important too. But I don't have any doubt that he'll take his experience from last year and go apply it and get better as the season goes.
Have you seen the defensive line coming together? You know, to be a lot of new faces that maybe some people aren't familiar with, and you lose that veteran leadership as well with that departure.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing on our team. You know, it's a major work in progress. You know, a lot of construction going on in that D line, but the good news is we got a lot of guys with some hard hats on. We got a bunch of guys showing up to work every day. I think we've recruited well, so now we got to go coach them up and develop well. Christian was a freshman one time. Dexter was a freshman one time. Clee was a freshman one time. This is the way it is. And I love the talent that we have. We can't replace the experience. That takes time. So, you know, it's fun. But there's a hunger and enthusiasm and an energy, and there's competition. So when it's all said and done, we'll run a good group out there. I think our first group is, you know, Justin Foster's a junior now, and he's played some really good football for us. Niles and Jordan have played. They don't have tons of experience, but they know what it looks like, and they know what those guys in front of them that just left, they know the standard. And then, you know, Xavier Thomas and Logan Rudolph and KJ and Massimo, we got good people. We just don't have the experience, the depth that we've had. But that first group that runs out there, I think if we stay healthy, they'll be a salty bunch, and hopefully we can stay healthy to develop some of the depth and get some experience that we need, and we got to be ready early.
Dad, there was some noise that came out of Alabama today about you guys in their game last year. Coach Saban kind of threw a couple things out there, but then Dylan Mosley said that Clemson wasn't the better team. You got any thoughts on his comments?
I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. We were the better team that day, so, I mean, it's all that matters. There's really nothing else to say.
Do you think the ACC just doesn't get the respect that perhaps it does? I mean, that's a player's opinion, but nationally, do you feel the ACC still, like, they respect your program, but the rest, do you feel the rest of the team?
I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, I think our program gets tons of respect for sure, and I think ultimately that's what it comes down to. I mean, you know, it's you know, I don't run around and talk about league supremacy. I mean, we have a great league. And there's lots of great leagues out there. And certainly the SEC is an unbelievable league. But to me, it's about the program. I mean, you can be in a great league and stink as a program. Well, what's that do for you? You know, to me, it should always be about the program. But I think our league is so understated, it's not even funny. I mean, we've won more national championships in the last 6 years than any conference in football. You probably wouldn't know that. You know, because nobody's going to talk about that. Everybody wants to talk about the past 20 years. And certainly 10 years ago, things were different in this league. You know, 10 years ago, I know when I got this job, we had a long way to go, not only at Clemson, but as a league. But, I mean, where we are today, and the reason we win is because of our league and how we're challenged week in and week out. And I think that's what people miss. You know, 5 or 6 years ago, it was hilarious because, you know, the rhetoric used to be, well, an ACC team's never going to win the national championship because they don't play anybody. And so when they get to postseason and they got to play the big bad boys, they can't be prepared. Well, now we win it. Well, the only reason we win it now is because we don't play anybody. So you can't have it both ways. I think at the end of the day, the reason we win is because we play incredible competition. This league has had 32 bowl teams in the last 3 years, 11 this year. We had 19 postseason wins in the last 3 years. And so the depth of our league, you know, week in and week out, there are great coaches, not good coaches, there are great coaches in this league. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge every week to get a game plan together. And we're challenged on the field, our team, and then what we practice against. So, you know, I don't know what else to say other than that, but we just kind of keep doing what we do. But I think that we certainly get a lot of credit, but I think all the other teams in this league don't, and they should. You know, I mean, there are some great coaches and some great football players in the ACC, and, you know, I'm not saying we're the best in the world or whatever. We were this year, or last year, but that's over. it's a new year, and you got to go, show up and play. But this league doesn't take a backseat to anyone. It's a very competitive league, and again, I'm used to we couldn't win because we don't play anybody. Now we only win because we don't play anybody, and that doesn't add up to me. At the end of the day, I think the credit goes to this conference, and I think that's why we've been so successful in postseason.
Looking at your opener this year, how are you prepared for a team that's had such a big personality change? And also, is your part of you happy you don't have to face a triple option when they're coming out?
Well, I'm gonna miss old Paul. I really like Paul Johnson. I think he's one of the best, and certainly will miss competing against him. I will not miss the triple option. Incredibly difficult to prepare for, but it's going to be a challenge, this opener, because openers are always tough. They really are. But there's just so many unknowns. You have zero tape to study, so you're just kind of, figuring it out. You got to prepare for so much more than what you would if you had, some 2 or 3 games and you can kind of see the identity of the team. We just don't have that privilege to see that. We study, we watch Temple and all that stuff, but it's going to be a challenging game, but we're looking forward to it. And when you get into the flow of the game, you figure out and make the adjustments that you need to make and try to give your team a chance to win.
Coach, everybody knows the talent you got going back on offense. Do you think they're sleeping on the defense a little bit, where they just see the big names that have gone on to the NFL, and maybe Isaiah Simmons isn't as known as he should be right now? And some
I think Isaiah's known. I think a lot of people know him. I would say a guy like Skowski is not known, and I think when it's all said and done, if he stays healthy, he's going to have a great year. But that's just kind of a natural thing when you have the amount of first rounders and the high-profile guys that left that team. It's a very fair thing to look at. Like, wow, who's going to replace these guys? So we got a lot of guys that have a lot to prove. But again, I think to sustain success, you have to recruit well and develop well. And the reason we've had 8, 10-plus win seasons, it's not like we've had seniors for 8 years. I mean, we've had to replace guys every year. When Taj left, when Sammy left, when Deshaun left, fill in the blank. And so, hopefully we can continue to do what we've done for many years, and that's have guys ready to step up and fill some voids.